today. If anybody has any questions left from the sutta.
Bhante?
Yeah.
I have a question. Are monks nowadays still practicing according to the sutras?
Going on the alms round?
No, I mean reviewing the 37 A's to enlightenment.
Of course, that's the basic practice.
I mean during, alms round.
The thing is, in the sutta, it seems that that section is not directly connected to going on the alms round. Rather, what's involved in going on the alms round is reviewing one's state of mind to see whether any defilements arise when going to the alms place, while walking for the alms and coming back. So that's why in the shorter version of that sutta, in the Chinese Sangyuktagama, it just has the section on going on the alms round. And then these other sections of the sutta seem to be added in the Pali version. But as far as the alms round, it's still commonplace in Burma, Thailand, probably Cambodia, Laos. In Sri Lanka, it's not commonly done. In Sri Lanka, maybe because of the period of the British Empire, the British imperial rule in Sri Lanka, somehow that connection between the temple and the village communities got broken. And so what came to replace it is a system whereby people often, they'll bring food to the temples and then offer it to the monks. But what I like about Sri Lanka, because, you see, in Burma, Thailand, because the alms round is a fixed observance, every day people will line up on the streets, they take tables like this, set them out on the streets, and then they stack up the food on the table, and then they're expecting the monks to come by. And so they have everything ready for the alms round, and then, it's say 7 a.m. in the morning, the monks will come by in line, and the people just put into the bowls. So it's done as a fixed procedure. But in Sri Lanka, because it's not a regular practice, but people know what it means. And so when one turns up carrying the bowl, when one comes to, say, a little hamlet or village and you're standing there, usually nobody is expecting you in advance. And then, because the houses are open, people are constantly going in and out of the houses. Suddenly, say, one woman in the house will come out maybe to hang laundry or to bring the children out, and suddenly she sees, there's a monk standing in front of the house. Wow, this is great opportunity for merit. And then they'll go into the house and then get something ready, and then they'll inform their neighbors, and then everybody will excitedly come out. So it makes it much more, in a way, more meaningful than if it's a fixed observance where it's done in almost a mechanical way.
Bhante, yes. The merit you just mentioned, how does making an offering to a monk, or for that matter anybody giving alms, is a source of merit? If you can explain that, it will be wonderful.
Explain that what?
If you can explain how it works.
Okay. What's called merit is wholesome karma. And I think it refers specifically to the power of wholesome karma to bring desirable results in the future, to ripen in the form of desirable results. So there's worldly benefits of merit, which would be things like birth into good families, wealth, success in one's undertakings, beauty, fame. So those are the worldly benefits of merit. Then we call the world transcending benefits is that merit provides the support, the supporting conditions for encountering the Buddhist teaching, and then for making progress in one's practice and for realizing the stages of attainment. Okay, so that is the way merit comes to fruition. And the Buddha speaks about 3 bases for merit in the suttas. One is giving, the other is giving or generosity, then ethical observances or moral discipline, and then the third is meditation, meditative development. Okay, so making an offering to a renunciant is a form of giving, of generosity, and is considered especially meritorious because those who are going on alms round are those who have renounced the world in order to seek, the highest goal. And so they've put themselves into a position of dependence upon the generosity of others. In fact, the sutta that we passed over, that this time I'll make an effort to take next week, that's very short so we could take it quickly. That deals with the merits that come from making offerings.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, please take the microphone.
Well, I understand that the Buddha explains that when you are practicing voidness, you are actually you're free of desire, lust, hate, delusion, or aversion in the mind.
Yeah.
But as a lay person, of course, if I'm walking and if I'm happy, I see a bird,
Yeah.
and there's no aversion, I don't have any lust. In fact, I could see a girl, but I didn't have any lust towards her. I saw as a person there.
Yeah.
Would that still be practicing voidness to a point? Because actually, there's no rising of lust or desire, because I'm happy. Just living life happily. And none of these has risen. So would that be, I know it's not close to what they explained to an arahant, but would that still be practicing as a lay person?
Yeah.
Or voidness?
I'd be hesitant to say that that's voidness. It seems that here voidness or emptiness is being referred to as a particular, very deep meditative attainment.
Yeah, I figure that,
Yeah. But that is maybe the practice leading to voidness or emptiness.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Yes. Would it be possible for you to explain to us the attitude of Theravada Buddhism towards money, accepting money, in terms of alms round? I believe that one of the 10 precepts is there's a precept to abstain from accepting gold and silver.
Yeah.
At the same time, I believe that the Indian society at the time of the Buddha was not a currency-based society like ours today.
Yeah.
And in contemporary East Asia, it became customary for monks and nuns to accept money.
Yeah.
And in, for example, in Japanese tradition, when monks go on alms round, usually so the bowl used is much smaller than those used in Theravada Buddhism.
Yeah.
And usually they're expecting money, not food.
Yeah.
So what is the attitude now, historically and also in contemporary societies of Theravada Buddhism?
It's almost like a doctoral dissertation or a master's thesis. Okay, the rule is against accepting gold and silver, which means, it's explained in the commentary that means anything that can be used as a medium of exchange. Okay, so it's understood traditionally to mean that the rule is against accepting money. And I would say within the classical context, that was observed quite strictly. And in certain sectors of contemporary Buddhist monasticism, particularly the forest monasteries, it's observed quite strictly. In the mainstream Theravada monasticism, most monks have faced, the realities of having to, to deal with situations in the contemporary world where, if one is traveling by public transportation. Like the way the strict monks do it is that they have to have somebody come along with them, either to put them on the bus or to accompany them if they have to change buses. But most monks don't have the luxury. They're not wealthy enough to have somebody come along. And so I say most monks nowadays do handle money. But as far as the alms round goes, I would say that those who do go on alms round are pretty strict not to accept offerings of money on the alms round. Of course, the purpose of the alms round is to collect the food.
Thank you.
And another difference between Theravada Buddhism and what I understand in Japanese Buddhism is that Buddhist rituals are performed almost with prices set on them. So if you want to get like a half an hour recitation, there's such and such a price. If you want an hour's recitation, the price is that much higher. If you bring together 3 or 4 of your friends for a recitation, then you get a discount. It's almost quite literally as a business deal. In, say, the Theravada tradition, people will invite the monks to the home, say, to do a recitation. Then they'll make offerings in the proverbial red envelope or a white envelope. But it's not done, with a predetermined price, and it's not done expressly as a kind of exchange deal. It's just that the monks come to do the recitation, and the people, sometimes they'll make offerings of actual material requisites, like things that are needed at the monastery. If they don't know what to give, they'll give like the white envelope or red envelope with money in it.
Yeah. When you explain the situation, like you have your situation here where you have your food, everything is there, wouldn't that, that has become pragmatic in every religion that happens, I understand that. We become more comfortable, so therefore we lose touch of what the Buddha was teaching to let go, right? But wouldn't that make it much harder for many monks these days and Buddhism to be practiced at its fullest? To be practiced, in other words, become enlightened, because of the fact that so many amenities there that are
I have to say
available.
It's very true. A lot of the amenities make it. They make life more comfortable, but they become obstructions for making progress. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
So that's why the ideal situation is to live in very, very simple conditions. Just a kuti, like a little cottage or hut.
True.
With the bare necessities.
Well, you see many monks these days living very, I mean that I've seen, many monks that live high class, they're doing better than I do. I don't have anybody cooking for me. I got to cook myself. I got to clean, I got to do everything. But they got all of those, you got a lot of help.
Bhante,
Yeah.
I don't know that it would happen, but if you were on alms round, say, and someone dropped money in your alms bowl or otherwise placed you in possession of money, what would you do? Would you simply accept it, or would
No, one would
ask them to take it back?
Well, they would hold it out, and then one would just either verbally refuse it or put the hand up over the alms bowl to show that one won't accept it.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah, one of my enjoyable experiences in going in alms round, this was back in 1987. I went to Dharamsala, or actually McLeod Ganj, that's the area above Dharamsala, or the northern part of Dharamsala, in order to take treatment from a Tibetan doctor. And I was staying at this, it's called the Tusita Meditation Center. And then I saw that there was like an Indian village on the other side of the hill, and I thought it would be a good idea to go on alms round there. And so I had somebody write in Hindi, or maybe it was the language of that region, which is a dialect of Hindi, that statement that I'm a Buddhist monk going on alms round, I only accept prepared food, not money. And of course the people don't have any experience with wandering ascetics going on alms round, but maybe it's ingrained in the mind from the traditional Hindu legends and so on. And so when I would come to the village, I would stand there and everybody would run into the houses, but I would just stand there holding up the sign, and the adults probably are not literate, but there would be like usually a kid, and then they would send the kid out to me, and the kid would take the sign and look at it and read it, and I would see the kid goes back to the adults and confers with them. Then they came out and said, wait, to indicate, wait. I think they brought a chair and had me sit down. Then they went into the houses, and I sat there about 10 minutes. Then they all came out from the houses with prepared dishes and offered to me. And then I did this a few days. Then I decided to go down to the Tibetan section of the town, and everybody's working. No, I mean, nobody is in the homes. Yeah. I think that both husband and wife are out working, they're working in the town. So the houses, I stand in front of the houses, but it seems that there's nobody in the houses. Oh, somebody was going to ask. Yeah.
I just want to know that when you mentioned the 4 aspects of sunyata, the second aspect, the phenomenological, you actually mentioned different sutras for each aspect, like Sutra 121 and Sutra 43. What is the sutra associated with this particular aspect?
With the phenomenological. That, I think, the clearest example of that is what I call Sutta 121, the shorter discourse on voidness.
Okay.
But maybe what you mean the ontological. The ontological is concerned with the nature of existence.
Yeah, I think you mentioned 121 for ontological. You mentioned Sutta 43. And
the
Majjhima
passage.
Nikaya 3585.
Yeah, for the ontological, that particular passage from Majjhima Nikaya 43 on contemplation, on the mind deliverance through emptiness.
Yeah, that one I understand.
Yeah,
I thought 121 is for the meditative aspect, the signless.
No, that is a meditative, it's dealing with meditative states, but I call it phenomenological because it involves shifting the focus of attention within the field of experience or the field of perception.
And make it subtler?
Yeah.
That's what you meant by that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is what I call a phenomenological. And then the last, the meditative, I refer to those 3 samadhis, and those are mentioned in various places. One place where they're mentioned it's Samyutta Nikaya. It's called the chapter on the unconditioned. I think it's Samyutta Nikaya chapter 43. It speaks about different samadhis as the way to the unconditioned, and it mentions these 3 as a set. And they're mentioned elsewhere. I don't remember elsewhere.
So what did you use Visuddhimagga, the path of purification, as the foundation of your analysis of the 3 meditation, the meditative aspect? The sign list, the wish list.
Those are dealt with in the Visuddhimagga,
Okay.
but one finds sutta sources for them.
Okay.
One finds occasional mentions of them in the suttas, but
'Cause
the
I haven't
Visuddhimagga works them into a more systematic framework.
Because I can't find them all three in one sutta.
Yeah, if you look at this, it's very short, that chapter called the Unconditioned. And then one finds the text says, this is the way to the unconditioned. And then it mentions different practices like mindfulness of the body, the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Then it mentions that group of 3 samadhis.
Bhante, I got confused. So in Sutta 43, the deliverance of mind through voidness,
Yeah.
and the samadhi, the third samadhi, are these 2 different things?
The interrelationships between them get rather complex. We're going to do Sutta number 43. Probably in June we'll take it. So let's, put that question off till then. Then another place where one finds that group of 3 samadhis in the Anguttara Nikaya, at the end of the Book of the Threes, there's a kind of stereotype passage which speaks about the different practices that lead to the full understanding, elimination, eradication, destruction of, it mentions 17 mental defilements. Then one of the groups of practices that lead to the destruction of those defilements, if I remember correctly, is those 3 samadhis. Okay, any further questions? Okay, then I think we'll have to end for the day. And we're going to need some help to bring some things over from this hall to the big hall, the big Buddha hall. Edwin? I said we need some help to carry some things over to the big Buddha hall. Do you know the weather report for tomorrow? What is it? What? I think you have other chairs. Yeah, it shouldn't be the fabric chairs. Yeah, then I think this base has to be. Yeah, this is merit. They need help in the kitchen. You mean right now? So there's lots of vegetables that need to be cut. Okay, so those who can stay are... Okay, Edwin knows what has to be done, so Edwin can give. Okay, so we'll end with 3 half bows again. Okay, 1, 2, 3.